All right. So I'm trying one of my GoPros this morning. For whatever reason, the editing program keeps crashing, so I can't use my Canon. And if I use my Sony Handycam, it's also damaged from me dragging around outside. I can't adjust the exposure, and the audio is nasty. So it sucks to use it in here. And it is absolutely pissing outside. Speaking of this GoPro, the back screen on this one doesn't work, and I splurged and I bought two of them this past year. I think they're like $600 or $700 frickin' dollars. Guess what I did? So Adventure Dog's been escaping somewhere the odd time, and she goes on a major tour. And I thought it'd be cool to put her harness on, which I did, and a GoPro harness that I had. I didn't understand that it was that fragile, because it had this rotating mount on it. So I put that on her chest, put the GoPro on her chest, and I've done that before. I did it in Alabama with these these guys had these psycho dogs for hunting hogs, wild boar. And I thought, man, this would be cool to put a GoPro on them and see what they see and where they go. And we did, and it was a full success. It was awesome. So I put it on Ruby, and then I put the GoPro strap on her harness on her chest real tight, and then to top it off, I wound duct tape around the ends, super sturdy. Sarah's like, I wouldn't do it, she's gonna lose the camera. I'm like, there's no way, I've done this before. She lost my camera. Oh, you see where it hooked on something, and she struggled and blew the camera right off her harness somewhere. And she went on a rip somewhere. Oh, that sucks. It's just such a kick in the nuts. I'm pretty sure she must have jumped through a barbed wire fence, so I'm going to have to walk the fence line pretty quick, because I got nothing but time before all the leaves fall down to cover up that little expensive GoPro. Damn it. And I had an SD card in there that was huge. I've never seen them that big. 200 and something gigabytes or something. Gone too. And the content on it. Son of a bee. Anyway, what's new? Nothing much with me. Still waiting for my truck. I'm actually scared to phone the frickin' guy. This is driving me insane. I'm supposed to leave in days to go up north to do the 2-day moose challenge. But anyway, what else is I going to share? Probably quite a bit. I keep tabs on everything in the globe. It's funny, I was listening to some global analysts, very intelligent, very diligent, very honest men on the Duran. And they had another guy on there, a political and business global type analyst. Very knowledgeable people. And the guy, it's funny when some people say some things in early sticks, and what they're mentioning about the financial gloom and doom globally, and what's causing it, what to expect, what's probably coming, and what might not, what may be coming. And they're saying how the company BlackRock, how they're making a killing off of killing. They are making a killing off of killing on the globe today, and they control the media. What a deadly combination, isn't it? How do you fight that one? That is so gross and upsetting and alarming. So gross. It's amazing how they can accumulate. When you get a business like that with so many team members to make it happen, it's amazing how you can get so many like-minded people together that would be willing to, quote, make a killing off killing human beings. You know what I mean? You'd think there would be some intelligent, responsible, kick-ass, good people there that would pull full-on mutiny and assassinate the sons of bitches. Right? Because they got access to them. I know I would. I wouldn't even hide that for a second. Very frustrating to know. And to think that a business can control all the media. Obviously, that's in our face, right? It's in our face, the control of the media and what we say and do and what they need us to say, how they need us to react, and the knowledge they need us to have and not have, and limit the humans that they kill to make a killing on the knowledge they have. Because if we had access to all true knowledge, they wouldn't exist. Right? I would hope. It's amazing to watch how successful they are at creating nations full of window-licking, knowledge-limited humans. Very frustrating. Anyway, aside from all that babble, some of you may get it, some of you may not get it. It's a lot of frustrating things going on in the world that affect all of us, and it slowly progresses as it affects us. So we all start thinking, oh, something's on the lens. There we go. So we all start thinking, something's coming, when meanwhile something has been coming in, and it's been coming, and it's already arrived a long time ago. It just slowly escalates without too many people taking note, unfortunately. What do? You carry on, right? Now, where should we start today? Let's find an older folder. I got a million folders. And see what I have that isn't shared. Okay, I don't know if this has been shared or not. Listen to this. Former Hooper Hoosier Utah Mainer. Point of contact for you and Dave P. Mr. Isdall. I was raised in the forest areas of the Upper Peninsula. That'll be Michigan. I can shed some light on the politics of woodland creatures, as told to me in 1974 by two members of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders and a gentleman of a naturalist that advised the Department of Natural Resources. The Ojibwe and Chippewa tribes also confided much. Quote, Rough Riders, end quote. I don't even know what that is. Excuse me. Because my father was a bastard, I made the meadows and forest of the UP my escape as a kid. Thankfully, there were many conservation officers, generational woodsmen, and hunters that had a reverence for the land as much as me. I am former Air Force, a mathematical physicist / nuclear consult to sensitive government projects. I've also been a whistleblower to corruption within the government, having my career and life largely destroyed by what is a lack of integrity by a few that would rather conceal and control perception. Excuse me. I'm a traditional bow hunter with profound addiction to missing 411 and am broken-hearted over the latest news of Ben Pilatus. Hits me hard as I have volunteer mentored young men with bipolar disorder. Scientists and mathematicians I've worked with seem to be affected by the mental disorder. Excuse me. As far as the war on truth regards creatures, orbs, and all things debated on YouTube, I have insights that most don't. Some of the insights acquired from military, deep state, and conservationists who are all fighting over land management. Excuse me, I got a frog this morning. Including the use of minerals and maintenance of land botany. It is a multi-layer war of sorts. My best insights, though, came when backpacking in the Wasatch Mountains and observing phenom that matched what I encountered as a kid in the Great Lakes area. Let me know if you have any questions. The missing people element of 411 has been a lifelong concern of mine. Kevin. Okay, Kevin. I don't know, when was this? This is like an oldie or something? Excuse me, it is. You better email me back. That's a good delivery, a good opener, a good introduction, but we need your knowledge, man. So email us back and dump it. Do it. Of course I want to hear back. Kidding? I want to hear from everybody. All right. Newbie. Rifle advice. Uh-oh. I love your Sasquatch stories, but as a brand new wannabe elk hunter, I wanted your opinion. I own and love my Kimber 45 ACP pistol, as well as my Walther and Glock pistols. But my Kimber Pro Carry is my absolute favorite pistol. I was wondering if you'd invest in a Kimber hunting rifle, or should I start with something less expensive? And what caliber rifle should I buy / what is best for elk hunting? There are so many hunting calibers to choose from. I was also planning on buying a Nikon scope, as I have a real nice Nikon photography lens and body collection, starting with my Nikon F3 film camera and transitioning to a Nikon digital body for my lenses. I like the Nikon brand for optics. Good choice. Should I look at another brand of scopes? Thank you for your advice and your wonderful Sasquatch stories. The man-wolf / wolfman stories you sometimes tell freak me out. Sasquatch I can believe in, but a man-wolf, as you say, if I saw one, I'd blow it away. Who knows what else is out there? I've also heard stories of little people I only thought were a Tolkien novel or from stories from my Irish ancestors that I thought were fantasy. What the hell else is also out there? I plan on going on a guided hunt as I don't know squat about hunting elk. Deer are easy. You don't even need a rifle. Just your car. In my neighborhood, LOL. I regularly see 8 to 10 at night behind our subdivision as we walk at night. We have lakes and lots of woods behind our house. Sometimes I swear I hear primate-like yell/howl at night. And with all the deer, too many, and water/vegetation, maybe we have a Sasquatch or two near us as well. I don't know. Maybe. We live in the very north end of Tallahassee, Florida. I wish we could cull the deer population as it's truly gotten out of hand, but it's not allowed. Thank you very much, David J. Okay. It's like I'm a Dear Abby advice column. That's okay. That's fine. I'm sure there's a lot of people with the same questions out there. Best caliber for elk? I don't know. It's not really the caliber. It's your best. It's your patience and your shot placement, right? You put a hole in those ribs of anything. That's about all she wrote for them. So, what's my favorite round is a 300 short Magnum. Winchester short mag is my favorite right now. It's a go-to for anything, deer to grizzly bear, and it's done all the above. So, there you go. You can kill an elk with anything as long as you have the patience to do it right. And you just put it in the ribs behind the shoulder. Don't destroy all that meat. And it's over. As far as scopes go, I'm definitely not the guy for, how should I say it? I think I've explained myself before on my bows and my weapons, my guns and everything. I don't have expensive stuff. I just don't. I don't see a need for it. I have stuff that shoots accurately. That's all I need. Scopes, I have a regular Bushnell. I just have run-of-the-mill Bushnell scopes on my rifles. Why? Because they're affordable. They don't cost a pile of money. They put the crosshairs where I need them. The bullet goes where I want it. Game over. Freezer's full. There you go. But I've had over the years guiding everybody under the sun. I've seen every rifle caliber scope, $10,000 guns down to $500 rifles come up, and they all do the same thing. Same with bows and arrows. Arrow tip needs to be razor sharp, and you need to put it where you want it to go. Same with the bullets. The cost of the gun. There are some sweet rifles out there, obviously. It's like driving a 1974 Volkswagen Bug or driving a Ferrari. They're both cars, but some of them just feel sweet. Right? The more money you pay. I've always been the make do type myself. Always will be. Now, yeah, of course you've got Sasquatch beings around the forest there. 110%. 110%. Who else? Who else did I miss in this? I hope I didn't read this. Oh, photograph. All right, here we go. This is titled Foothills of the Appalachian Bigfoot. Hey, Steve. It's Blake from Northeast Alabama. I wrote you an email on my experience on February the 18th. I haven't heard it read yet, so I guess you haven't had time to read it. No biggie. I know your cause is a daunting task. I understand your outlook on pictures, but I spoke of the lights in my story, and I just thought I would send you a picture of one that I have captured. You don't have to share it if you don't want, but I would like for you to see it. My first impression was it was the moon, but I walked closer to investigate, and as I did, I lost sight of the light. And when I got to the spot, the way the terrain in the mountain is, there's no way that the moon was getting through that low to the ground. I hope the picture is viewable, and you can zoom in on the light that is center of the picture. Anyways, thanks and keep up the good work. Okay, man. Yeah, it's just a matter of me finding her. Yeah, that is definitely a light. Weird. All right, so here's the original picture. And I know I can do this with the GoPro. There's the original picture, but the screen's not working for me, so I'm going to have to guess that's close enough for you guys. If it isn't, I'll know when I edit this. Now I'll zoom up myself. You can see that that is a bright orange light. He caught it. There's no getting out of it. That's a bright orange light. Very interesting. If you're still watching the channel, man, just... Oh, no, I got your name right here. Okay, I can find it. I'll find your email. And I'll know if it was read or not. And I'll find it. Oh, hold on. Shit. I just lost it. Just like that. Here we go. I'll mark that as search. Then I'll know to do a search in your name and find your email when I'm done here. Hopefully. That was a freaking good example of a bright light caught, right? Very good. Hi, Steve. Hold on. Maybe Mark, this is red. I almost screwed up there. Hi, Steve. Love your channel. My name is Basil Irvin. I'm a retired 62-year-old dairy farmer. Sarah's family's dairy farmers. Back in 1980, me and an old girlfriend were out to spotlight some deer around 11. We turned on a road and I turned the light on. And on the driver's side, about 150 to 200 yards, was someone or something was walking in an alfalfa field going up a slight hill. When I hit him with the light, he turned a little and looked at us. It was all the dark color from head to toe. I can't remember if there was any eye shine or not. It never changed its speed of walking. If it was a man, you would think it would have waved or something and would have probably had a flashlight. Anyway, my girlfriend freaked out and screamed, "Get the hell out of here." So I did. I got down the road about a quarter mile and said, "Damn it. I had the binoculars right on the dash, and in all my commotion, I forgot to look at it with my binoculars." I was pissed. Anyway, just 2 years ago on another Bigfoot channel, I came across a comment about a sighting about the same year by a bow hunter who had a sighting just down the road about 2 miles. We to each other through the comment section. Okay, I think you must have meant you talked to each other through the comment section. Now, what I'm really writing you about is the UFO pictures of my trail camera that I mounted to my round bales barn captured. I mounted it next to my big plastic bag of high moisture corn that I would feed to my cows. Every winter when we would get some snow, all the deer from the swamp would make a freeway to my corn, and I would get nice pictures of bucks that made it through the deer season. The 7 pictures were taken on December 22, 2016. Over a 15-minute period, my wife took the chip out of the camera about 6 months later and was looking at the pictures on the computer, and she said, you might want to come and look at these pictures. So, Steve, go ahead and show the viewers. P.S. I can send the pictures easier by text and email. If you want, text me. I did send them to the Michigan MUFON Network, and they did a case on them and said they were differently unidentified flying objects. There's a red orb in some of the pictures. Wow. Oh, these look familiar. We might have posted them before. Wow. Very odd captures, for sure. I'll try to save those. There's too many of them, so I'll save them to my phone, and hopefully I can edit them and put them in the video. Saved one. Save that one. That's the dog chewing on her morning elk bone. For the curious. Wow, that's quite the, that's a weird capture, isn't it? I've never had anything like that on my trail cameras, ever. Yeah, not too many people freak out when they see a human being walking in a field and need to get out of there. Right? What do we got here? No, that's not one. I don't know what this is. We're going to read it. All right, here's another weird photo. I have to go through them because a lot of these emails have nothing to do with any of us here or what the answers we're seeking here. Hi, Steve. I've attached a game camera picture of some strange creature. This past summer while visiting our cabin up north, here in Alaska, we noticed that our game camera was lying on the ground with the strap torn in half. The camera was still intact. Upon viewing the pictures, we came across this strange face. Would like your opinion on what you think it could be. We have many different animals that come through our property, such as squirrel, porcupine, rabbit, lynx, coyote, moose, and bear, etc. Appreciate all you're doing. For your information, we have had other strange events at this location also. Thank you. Please don't mention my name. That's a face? I don't know what that is. That's just a big pile of gray, and I don't know what that is. You know what? And I suck at seeing shit, as we all know. So, there's a lot of people here that see things clearly in photographs and video that I don't. So, consider that shared. And if you got something else you want to share with us, share it. But I have no opinion on that because I can't see what that is. Very odd. All right, here we go. What's this one? Mark this as red. Hey, Steve. My name is Kip Torres, and I have some encounters to share. It's my opinion that the forest people share a hive mind. Beginning with my first encounter, seems like they choose to make themselves known to me since my first encounter happened in Oklahoma. After being put on insulin, I lost my hard-worked 4 six-pack in just a month. I traveled as a sous chef and had just completed a posting for another sous chef on sabbatical in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I accepted my next tour of duty in York, Nebraska, and told my new employer that I had a bucket list of a long-distance pedal. What I didn't tell him was I wanted my 6-pack stomach back. He told me that he thought it was a cool idea and gave me 20 days to report in. Turns out I did it in 8 days. My story begins September 1st, 2016, outside Bartsville, Oklahoma. And it was about 3 a.m., and I was beat. I looked to the lower left where a machine shop or a mechanic shop sat across from an old wheelless boxcar used for storage with several ponds behind that. I went behind the boxcar and sat my tent up, no stakes. Pulled my bike inside and sat in the dark waiting to wind down. Suddenly, this horrible smell hit me. It smelled like rotten onions, sulfur, rotten meat, and garbage. My first thought was skunk. Have you ever stood next to a buffalo or an elephant? They make the ground tremble when they walk. I'm an outdoorsman, have been all my life. I know the difference between a quadruped and a bipedal creature, what they look, sound, and feel like. Right then, I felt bipedal footsteps, not a foot away from the wall of my tent, walking by. I couldn't get my head around what the F was going on. Then it tripped over the corner of my tent and flipped my bike on me. I was scared shitless. I didn't know what it could be, and all I had was my hatchet and a good-sized buck knife on my belt. But I wasn't about to duck my head out and look. The next morning when I climbed out of the tent, I could see footsteps going towards the ponds through the hip-high grass. The thing was, the stride was at least 5 feet apart. My brain was trying to make sense of this. Yes, I'd heard of Bigfoot. When I was 4, I'm 56 now, I lived in Texarkana, Texas, when the Boggy Creek thing happened. But I thought it was all just a bunch of hooey. That's when I began doing research. Fast forward 2018. 4? When I was 4 or 40? Probably 4. Sorry. Fast forward to 2018, Oregon, Umpqua River Valley near Loon Lake. Myself and a female friend went camping. I'd never been to this place before, just followed my nose. While setting up about 300 feet from the top of the mountain, I noticed right away that it was dead quiet. Nothing moving, nothing alive. Dead quiet, and made mention of it. While scavenging for firewood and kindling, I picked up everything around the tent, everything down to the smallest twig. So that night about 2 a.m., while the chick next to me softly snored, I could hear movement coming down the incline from 2 directions, to the right and left. At my head, I could hear something stealthily creeping up, snapping small twigs underneath the grass. There was a crack to see out between the rain fly and the tent, but I couldn't make myself look. It was like I was frozen, listening to it get as close as a couple feet away. Then I heard the rattling of kitchen implements on the camp table. Right then, the chick sat straight up and said, "What was that?" I didn't know she had been awake too. We didn't hear anything scatter, nothing. We got up, looked around, and then went back inside. About 20 minutes later, we heard from the top of the mountains the sound of an owl. If he was a 20-foot owl, that is. It was so loud we could feel it in our rib cage. It lasted, rising in pitch, about 8 seconds. After that, dead quiet for the rest of the trip. Wow. Fast forward July 2020, close to the Rogue River on property I lived on outside Shady Cove, Oregon. I was sitting outside my motorhome just looking off in the distance at nothing at all while chatting on the phone with my cousin in Nebraska. Suddenly something caught my eye. You know the superhero Flash? The tracer that goes behind him while he's hauling ass? From about 150 yards, I see this dude hauling ass along the tree line with that tracer behind him. If it wasn't for the tracer, I wouldn't have noticed it. I've heard they move fast, but nothing prepared me for that fast. So, about 40 seconds later, while I'm telling Cuz about what I just saw, I could see him casually walking the way he had come from, just inside the tree line. It felt like it was done intentionally, like he wanted me to see him. Fast forward to that coming spring. COVID has reared its ugly head, and I wanted to be away from everybody. So I bought a generator, water barrels, and fuel cans, all my camping gear, and loaded up the motorhome and went way up behind Lost Creek Lake in Oregon. I was the only one on the mountain I chose. While living off-grid, I found a large rock in the shape of a Sasquatch head, complete with the nose. So I pointed it to look like a Sasquatch from my sister's porch stones. So I painted it to look like a Sasquatch from my sister's porch stones. It remained on my little craft table for a few weeks, and that's when the activity started. I have a kitty that camps and hikes with me. Pretty cool little dude. I introduced myself and Hot Rod to the forest people and thanked them for allowing us in their home. I have a list on my phone of every native tribe's name for them, so every morning I would greet them with every name. Soon I started finding gifts on my steps in the morning. An orange feather, a blue jay feather, a raven feather, a green rock, and a red rock that I could find nowhere else on that mountain, as well as snow white bleached bone. One morning after watering my plants along a ridge, I could hear rustling coming up the canyon wall. The madrone were dropping their leaves, and it was unmistakably bipedal. A group of them coming. So I stood up, went to the edge of the ridge to look down and wait. From behind me, what sounded like 20 feet inside the tree line, there were heavy limbs from clear coat from a past fire, probably from clear cut from a past fire. There's a loud stomping on the limbs. It should be said that I'm not afraid of anything. I don't know if that makes me stupid or brave, but at that second, all I felt was abject terror. All I could do was sit down on a rock and look at the ground. I've never been that afraid in my life. Soon it lifted, then it went away. It's common knowledge that they'll use distraction to draw one's attention away. Another thing, they would mimic birds badly. It was hilarious. They would mimic, say, a woodpecker, and then another would reply with a hawk. I don't think they know that birds of different species don't communicate with each other. I would sometimes hear the knocking of a woodpecker, if it was a 20-foot woodpecker, LOL, and another would answer from the bottom of the mountain. Lastly, one moonless night, while watching a movie with windows and blinds open, there were 2 knocks on my window. Keep in mind, my windows are almost 6 feet off the ground. Now, with all that being said, the give mind. How would they know to make themselves known since my first encounter came from Oklahoma? I guess it should be said that my grandmother had the third eye. I do, as does my son. We just know things. I don't know how. I just do. I seem to attract ghosts/spirits. I don't know why. I just do since I was 13 years old. I feel it has something to do with them making themselves known to me. I've never felt threatened by them either. My gut says they're not from this planet or dimension, i.e., infrasound, mind speak, and the pixelated camouflage they do, among so many other things. Think about this. The size of their skulls, a larger brain. They've likely been here since before the Ice Age. May happen they are the true natives. Thanks, Steve, for taking the time to read this. Feel free to share it and my name, since it's not my government name. Take care. All right. Appreciate the email, man. And that's one thing that catches my attention from this story is the speed, right? How many people have mentioned the speed scared the shit out of them more than anything. That's got to be pretty damn fast. And there's a lot of people out there that have witnessed that speed. Not me, but a lot of people. Another pattern. A couple patterns in there. The speed, the terror, and the being, quote, somewhat tagged, right? Who else? What else do we got? What's this about? Where are we? Okay, this is titled A Warning to the People. I think if you want a warning, yeah, I'll bite my lip on that one. Hello, Steve. You're the only one I can count on to share this warning. Most people are aware of the orb phenomenon and how many times they've seen in conjunction with these beings. They are not friendly. They are benign. If anyone sees them, you must not interact with them at all costs. If you see one, leave immediately. It's critically important. If you see UFOs and orbs in the area, do not take pictures. Pretend you don't see and leave. Red and or blue orbs mean you need to get away and stay away. Steve, you're the only one who will believe me, but I can't write everything down here. If you wanted to contact me, I would tell what I know. I know you're busy, but I have a few critically important details I'd like to pass on. Dave would be interested to know too. Comments below are not for YouTube. Okay, man. If you are here, listen, I suck at phones. Period. Now, if you're here, still watching this channel, email me something, all right? Email me what you know. Give me a good, solid chunk of knowledge. All right? Please. I get requests to phone. Who knows how many? So many. And I suck at phone calls, even my friends. People are pissed at me nonstop for not answering texts. I have a new phone, wiped up, and I have texts coming in, strange numbers coming in. I just don't reply. I know a whole pile of people have been erased from my phone by accident. I'm just saying I suck with the phone thing, all right? So, email me back something significant that you feel the people need to hear. I'll share it, and I'll go with my gut. And if I feel if I feel a panic, I'll get a hold of you, all right? But send me some more, okay? There's another one. My Sasquatch Visits. Hello, Steve. Call me Grandma Pie. I live in the mountains in the Pacific Northwest in the USA, in the rainforest. My sister, who works on fire/equipment watch on logging sites, has encountered them and has photos of the tracks she took. My dad and uncle had a memorable encounter with one of them when I was a child, so I've always known these creatures exist. I've been followed by one while climbing our mountain behind my house, but I did not feel afraid, just a little concerned. It was not trying to be quiet. It was just shadowing me and my dog from deep under the fir trees. I continued on my walk up the mountain, determined to reach the summit, which I did, and then turned to go home without further incident. But one spring day, I was outside my house picking a bouquet of daffodils when I heard the bellowing 50-gallon drum-sized lungs of a Sasquatch let loose in a massive scream. Wah! No human can scream that deeply or that loudly. We would need much bigger lungs and heavier chest muscles with which to operate those lungs to achieve that sound. The sound raised a bit higher in the middle of that long howling wail, then dropped in pitch again toward the end of the scream. It immobilized me. Oddly enough, I was not afraid of it. I was not afraid it was coming for me, but it was so loud that I felt the sound's vibration move through me, head to toe, maybe even through the ground, just as if I were at a rock concert, standing in front of the stage's pulsing speakers. Oddly enough, even though I was not afraid, the sound caused the hairs on my head and arms to literally raise up. They're up on the hill, above Mama's house. She's my neighbor. I couldn't even breathe in. And somehow, I totally understood that the bellow was an invitation to go with them. Really? Unspoken, but something like, if you're coming, let's go now. Then they moved off at a run up the steep mountain as fast as though it were flat field, and I could see the tall scrub under the firs rustling for maybe a full second. Then I could move and breathe again, and I jumped off the bank above my house with my daffodils to run into my house. Just seconds long, I was frozen in place, but that was so intense. I've lived here nearly all my life, so I probably grew up with them while wandering the mountains around my house. I never really noticed them as a kid. I was so excited by my own physical reaction to them that I think I called the radio station here. Can't recall whom, and was given the phone number of a local woman who'd been around them as a child. I called her. She was helpful for me to process what I had gone through. Told me of some of the skills that some predators have in the wild that can actually scare their prey into immobility by their howl, which might be why I froze and why my hair raised so weirdly. Then she told me her encounters, and they had been friendly with her. They were in a family unit when she met them. My only other encounter I wish to share, I have others, is when I found, because this woman had mentioned it to me, the Sasquatch do like honey. I filled a pound butter tub over half full of honey and took it up on the hill just above my upper garden and carefully placed it onto a root wad. Then I intentionally thought, Sasquatch, this honey is for you, and went back into my house. A couple days later, I walked back up to check on the honey I'd left for it. The honey was completely gone, but the butter tub I'd put it in was still there in the exact same spot I'd left it. There was a muddy swipe all around the inside of the tub, as though the creature was careful to clean it up to the last drop with its muddy finger. Would not have been a deer, as a deer would have licked the tub and or knocked it off the root wad. Same with most other wild animals, from coons to squirrels, bears, or really anything that likes honey. Honeybees would not have left a muddy swipe. That tub had been picked up to be completely cleaned out and then placed right back where I'd left it. My parents would not have been able to access it. Nobody saw me place it, as I was completely alone, and there are no roads where my garden is. My husband at the time was gone for several days out of state. A human would not have used their dirty fingers to eat the honey with. Would likely have wiped muddy fingers on their pants first, and there were no other humans around anyway. That would have been way too much honey for a human to eat without gagging on it, and there was nothing spilled within 6 feet of the root wad. I looked. The root wad had this sort of little shelved area that I had intentionally placed the tub of honey upon. I am sure it was not a creature that did not have opposable thumbs that enjoyed the honey, then replaced the tub so carefully. I've never tried to gift one since. I don't want that relationship with them. My attitude toward them is, I'll leave you to your work. Please leave me to mine. So far, so good. By the way, my mother did not hear the Sasquatch when it yelled at me from above her house. She had taken a nap during this invitation/interaction on Daffodil Day. I'll never forget that encounter. I believe, like most outdoor creatures, they can communicate telepathically. I believe they are also large because their environment is so large. I believe they must travel all the time to be able to not deplete their food sources. They seem to be seasonal here. Anyway, we must seem to be like fairy folk to them, so small yet fascinating. And I believe that we humans are amusement to them. After all, they have no entertainment among themselves. I also believe they can absolutely be dangerous. Thank you for respecting those of us who have decided to share our encounters. Grandma Pie. I'll appreciate you for sending that in. I'm glad you didn't keep up the habit of filling their tummies, because so far, well, I don't know. I can't say anything on that. I've never done it myself, so I don't know. But I have a funny feeling that forming a food relationship might not be the better choice, but I'm not certain. Okay, because I know there's a lot of people out there that do, and they're possibly far more up to date on knowledge than I am. We'll bust this up a little bit. Quick update on last night. Everybody knows I've been patiently seeking one of two monstrous ancient senior citizen bears that are at the end of the run. And what do you call it? I call it selective hunting is what I call it. And let's face it, I could have filled a bear tag, 500 times this year? I haven't, because I'm just not finding the right one that I decide that I want to harvest and utilize. And I have narrowed down semi-habits of the one, and I was waiting for him, hiding in a boat with my bow behind a big alder tree. And the same bear, I think I mentioned it yesterday, this bear came swimming right up to me at first light in the morning. He's like right there. That same bear was there again. I saw the big one, but he's too far away in the wrong direction. And this is an interesting video I did with my phone, because I'm sitting there dead quiet, and all of a sudden heard a growl, a splash, a bit of a growl or something downriver. And I didn't see it clearly, but this bear had come out of the thick brush and dove into the river in the brush, grabbed a fish, and I could hear him snapping limbs and stuff go back in the forest. There's only about 15, 20 minutes of seeing light left. And then all of a sudden, boom, here comes this bear. And I got him on the video camera. It's pretty self-explanatory. So here's the video from last night. He came out so close, he was about, I know the phone makes the distance seem odd, but he was probably about 8 feet from me. Yeah, what am I, 8? Yeah, maybe 8 feet or 10 feet from me. He's above, a little bit above me. It's almost, whoever's above wins, and all I had was my bow. And it definitely wasn't drawn back. I wasn't planning on shooting this bear. But he got a little too close, so I had to give him a little bit of a scare. Because the way his body movements, I know bear's body movements, and the way he was moving, he was curious about me. Whatever I was, he didn't know. The wind was right. He didn't quite know, but he knew something was off. You can tell by his body language, big time. And he wasn't moving like he was very timid, to say the least. So I thought, all right, well, he's close enough. He could literally jump on me right now. If it was that 1 in a million episode where a black bear kills a human being, I basically lined myself up for it. So I decided I better be the first one to be aggressive. And it works on black bears. You do that to a grizzly bear, it'd probably work. Probably, right? But anyway, here's that video now. All right, here's another voice to be heard. Hello, Steve from Ohio. I've been hunting and fishing since I was a kid, always spending time in the woods and fields. Ohio is beautiful if you get out in it. Hard to find a place to hunt except for state land, but came up with a friend with 7 acres. I've been hunting it pretty hard because I saw lots of deer. One evening I was hunting a real nice buck, no shot, hunting with a bow. Went back the next morning and pulled some stomach muscles the night before using a climber. Unusually dark that morning and extremely quiet. I know the land like the back of my hand, but had to use a little light to find my way in and across the creek. Started up the tree and knew I couldn't go any higher, probably 15 feet off the ground, still really dark. Hill in front of me, creek behind me. Looked to the top of the hill, saw a deer on top of horizon, moving pretty good right to left. I've been hunting this property for 7 years. In 2011, never saw anyone. As I was watching deer cross, a minute later or so, there was the deepest, loudest whistle I've ever heard on the creek about 8 yards behind me. Ew. Turned to look who was behind me. Nothing there. No light, nothing. About that time, another deep, low whistle right behind me, even closer. Turned round to my stand, nothing. No way anyone walking through that area with no noise or light. I don't believe anyone, even with night vision, could walk through without any noise. Sun peaking about that time, looked back uphill. Deer coming back left to right. Came downhill a little ways to open area, tractor, turn around. Stood in that area, body to body, looking all around. They wouldn't leave. Some were looking down at me, knew I was there and didn't care. If I had a gun instead of a bow, I could have shot them easy at 80 yards. Stood there forever looking back uphill. When they decided to leave, they stayed body to body instead of running everywhere. They went down an incline looking back uphill, not worried about me one bit. I think they're more scared of it than me. I never saw anything but the weirdest hunt I ever had. Sitting in the same tree 3 days later, killed some nice deer from that tree, hunted there until 2019, never saw anyone else hunting and nothing else happened. I think I was lucky enough to have something pass me that morning on that creek showing true hunting. Thanks, Steve, for everything you're doing. Please tell your people to do what they love, but always know there may be something else there. Respect them. Tim Grant. P.S. Locals claimed man hit a Bigfoot with his car a couple years before. They looked for it for days, but nothing. It totaled the car. Whoa, no shit. Hey man, hey Tim, thanks for sending that in, man. Appreciate it. And that's a creepy ass experience. It's one that I don't want. And if you could, if you're still watching the channel and you could do a little sleuthing, maybe you could find the local. If there's a way, maybe you know somebody. You never know. You never know, so I'm throwing it out there. Maybe you could find the person who was driving that vehicle and see if maybe they would be interested in sharing their experience with the world through all of us. I think that'd be really good. And I'll guarantee you, if this is legit and somebody totaled their car from smoking one of these things, they're going to have pictures of the car. We want to see that too. I'd be really, really, really interested and thankful if you did that. It'd be something else to see, right? I haven't seen a car that was totaled by hitting one of these beings. Although quite a few people have hit them. And I'd be curious to see that myself. Anyway, here we go. Let's hope this camera works. And then what am I going to do? Lots. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finally break down and phone the mechanic and see if... It's almost like you just dread it. You know what I mean? Hey, man. It's got the black Dodge. Can I pick up? Can I pick it up? Was it Tuesday now? Last Friday, he said the part was coming. And he was on the phone in front of me and couldn't get a hold of the parts dealer, the parts person. And that's the last I heard. I'm so frustrated. I could just bang my head into concrete. Share my story at howtohunt.com. All right? A lot of you are possibly impatient waiting for me to make things happen with a couple of different people. Believe me, nobody's as impatient. Nobody, how would I say this? Yeah, I'll just leave it for another time. I'm just letting you know that everything that I plan on doing and sharing is in my brain, taking up a big chunk of my brain space 24/7. All right? It's just, I'm just losing so much time and getting behind in so many things this time of year. It's just the way it is. I have to keep my shit together and not get frustrated and lash out and swear and have a tantrum and just deal daily as it comes, right? Get what I can do done with what I got and then move forward when I can. So, yes, I have been swapping emails when it comes to the plans of me heading south and getting a substantial amount of knowledge for all of you. I'm on it. That's all I'll say is I'm on it. All right? I'm on it. What else? I think that's about it. I bite my lip every single time I turn this camera on because there's about 50 other topics that I would love to scream about at the top of my lungs. And I know there's a whole pile of you out there can relate to the topics that are taking up space in my brain. And I'm just trying to figure out right now, as I take in information from around the globe nonstop, I'm trying to figure out the sweet spot of life. Do you know what I mean? You can go through life being absolutely frustrated, feeling useless, and you want to make a difference. You want to take one for the team and just go clean up the source of the problem, but it's so big. A lot of these problems are so big, and the remedies are probably remedies we're not allowed to talk about publicly. It's frustrating. I'm trying to find that sweet spot where everything can be level and still maintain sanity, maintain the drive to be happy, and try to live with your natural urge to help and make a difference, which is very, very frustrating today. And but at the same time, to not let the bad go unchecked or pointed out. Am I making any sense? I hope I'm making sense, because it doesn't feel like I'm making sense, but like I said before, my brain doesn't mesh up with my lips the smoothest at times. But we need to, there's a lot of people I'm friends with, I follow, I watch, I listen to, and they have dedicated their entire existence to the fight. And I get it. But we also need to make time to try to be happy, help people, focus on the good. But somehow we need to come up with how we can end the evil, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it yet. I'm trying to figure it out. It's funny, when they're on that topic, there is more than ample evidence that very intelligent societies have come and left the face of this planet before us. Easily. I was thinking the other day, the intelligence it took, say, to build the pyramids or pyramid-like structures around the globe where everything is very similar. The intelligence it took, the equipment it took to do that is absolutely off the chart, and they wiped themselves out, possibly. Right? They came to a crashing end. And you wonder, you look at it, and then my brain will say, okay, well, let's see how intelligent the leaders of the world are today. And all of those dipshits combined probably do not have half the intelligence it required to create the pyramids in that society years ago. Do they not? So if they don't have the ability, the intelligence to do something like that, how would they have the intelligence to make sure that our society doesn't end like all the societies have before us? Right? That's also a bit of a deflating thought. Man, listen to me rant. That'll be 2 coffees in me. I'm ranting. I'm definitely babbling right now. Anyway, thoughts, right? Thoughts. Do something you love. Make sure you do something that makes you feel absolutely on fire happy. Make sure you do it, whatever. And if you haven't discovered what that is yet in life, make sure you try to figure it out, all right? Because that's why we are here. We are not here to feed these monsters, but apparently they've successfully managed to get us to just work. Work, create that revenue for them, right? And all they do is kill us with that revenue globally. It's frustrating. But there's more to life than just this, that. So, my end babble sentence would be to make sure I encourage everyone to, whatever it is, I don't give a shit what it is. Whatever it is in life that makes you feel great, make sure you do it. All right? What day is it today? Tuesday? Do it this weekend. Plan on it for an hour on Saturday, whatever. Just do it a little bit. Make sure you make that a regular part of your day or your week. Whenever you can. You have to. Okay? Babble, babble. I'll be back again. You can't stop me. There's only one way you're going to stop me. All right. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Word for word. It gets shared. Talk to you guys later.